Hello, my name is Derek Clement. In this video, I will demonstrate how to achieve that long layered cut, which we call Breeze 1, on chemically relaxed hair by simply layering throughout the interior and exterior zones with over direction from crown, working towards the nape area, thus giving us the length we need for the long layered cut, with emphasis on our basic concave guideline for definition and control. When Margaret came to us for her hair to be cut, one thing she stressed was that whatever the cut, she must maintain her hair length. Bearing this in mind, we examined her hair, acquainting ourselves with the texture, movement, and style suitability. Having done this, we chose the cut Breeze 1, which is an updated long layered style. Margaret's hair has been relaxed 65 degrees, just the correct degree of relaxation for the given cut. We go into the cut by parting the hair into a forehead to nape and ear to ear section, which is now just visible. We then subdivide our forehead to nape section at the nape into our concave section as a starting point for the cut. We begin our cut on the left side by cutting our guideline. It is important that our guideline is as precise as possible. Margaret's hairline tends to be uneven at the nape area, something which you'll find actually common with Afro hair type. Here we are checking for precision. We take our next section directly above the guideline. Notice that this section is parallel to our first section. We comb that section over our first section. We are working onto the skin. Here our guideline area is quite visible. We continue working upwards towards the crown and direct all the section downwards to our guideline area. Notice there is no tension on the section. Let the hair fall on its own weight. Here we identify our guideline area and continue to cut. Again, working up towards the crown, we take our next section, combing every single mesh downwards from the section. Afro hair tends to dry out quite easily. What we have done here is to moisturize the hair with mousse, particularly designed for Afro hair, which acts as a wetting agent, allowing us total manageability throughout the cut. Here we are again, combing every single strand of hair over our guideline area. Notice, with this moisturizer, the hair takes on a nice, shining, conditioned effect. While it's acting as a conditioner, it also helps us to maintain wetness throughout the cut. Here we are completing our last section. We have worked right up towards our air-to-air section. Here is our line. Everything has been brought down to zero elevation. It is important that our line is as precise as possible because it acts as a foundation for our cut. We move on to the right side to prepare our next guideline area, thus giving us a completed back. Here we are, combing the hair away from our parting. Here we are, combing the hair away from our parting. Here we are, blending in the left side with the right side. It is important that we maintain our concave section throughout the cut. We are now blending in the left side with the right side. Every mesh of hair is important for our baseline. Like before, we continue taking parallel sections, working towards the crown, and directing the hair downwards over our guideline area and cutting. Here we have completed a number of sections, taking us to our air-to-air section for our completed back area. This is our back area completed. Here we have our baseline, almost the beginning of our perimeter shape. We are now checking again for precision. We now move to the front of the head, parting the hair to establish our forehead to nape section. Afro hair, the best of time, tends to adopt a very tangled effect. But notice how the hair is combing through quite easily. It's quite soft. That is due to the fact that we are using the moisturizer, which, as previously said, serves as a wetting agent and allows easy combing. Here we have our forehead to nape section. We then subdivide that section, like the back, into a convex section, which will give us our fringe as a starting point. Our convex section is now quite visible. We comb our section downwards over the front and we cut. This is a very difficult area. There is no given rules as to how much we cut off. That depends entirely on your judgment. Here I am using just above the nose area as the guideline for a short fringe. Having established our guideline area, we work on the left side. We continue taking sections at the front, directing downwards just over the eyes and above the nose and cutting. Here we are taking our horizontal section from the crown and directing the section downwards and cutting. Once you have achieved a guideline area, you continue taking horizontal sections, directing downwards towards the guideline area. Here we are taking our horizontal section from the crown and directing the section downwards and cutting. This is a very difficult angle to cut, so we are using a freehand technique here to create as much length as possible. The first half of the section is cut between our fingers, as can be seen here, while the second half is cut freehand in the opposite direction to achieve as much length as possible. Here we are cutting in the opposite direction. We continue doing this right the way through until we reach the back section. Here the guideline area is quite visible. Once again, the first half is cut between our fingers, as the angle here is far easier to cope with. This half is cut between the fingers, while the next half is cut freehand in the opposite direction. You can appreciate that mesh getting longer and longer as we get towards the back area. This is continued right the way through the back. Here we are checking for precision and identifying our guideline area. We cut freehand in the opposite direction. Eventually, as we blend the back and side, a square baseline effect is achieved. Here we are now blending the back with the sides, which gives us a half completed exterior shape. Here we are checking the back into the sides, which gives us a squarish baseline, which when blown dried gives us extra volume. We now move on to the other side. We take the next section down, diagonally over the face, using our previous cut guideline. We continue this right through to the back. Here a number of sections have been completed, Working to the back in the same manner as before, we continue cutting over our guideline area. Like before, we blend the back and sides together, giving us our square baseline. Here we have a completed perimeter. Here we are now checking for movement and balance. At this point in the cut, we are layering. Here we are establishing a double forehead to nape section. We comb the section upwards towards us at 90 degrees. Here we have a double forehead to nape section. We again comb our section at 90 degrees from the scalp, and we cut our guideline. At this point, we ask ourselves, how much should we cut off? This will depend entirely on your judgment. Here I have decided to cut a short crown, giving us extra movement. We continue working towards the nape by holding our section at 90 degrees throughout, almost over-directing as we work towards the back. Here we have decided to work with the front portion of the head by establishing our ear-to-ear section. We now move to the back of the head, blending in our front with the back. We continue over directing right over to the crown to maintain length at the back. We continue over to the other side. We establish our ear to ear section and guideline area and cut. We continue doing this right the way through the sides, holding the section at 90 degrees and cutting. Here is our last section. We direct that over our first guideline area and we cut. Like before, we move into our back section. Here we are blending our front section with the back section, over directing for length as we work towards the nape. We continue doing this right the way through to the nape area, combing and blending back sections into the front sections. Here we are combing the side into one mesh and cutting through for completion. We also comb the back into our front section and we cut. Here we have a completed exterior and interior shapes. Having cut layers into the hair, it is important that we return to the crown and check horizontally. Our theory is that if we cut horizontally, you check vertically, or if you cut vertically, you check horizontally for precision. We move to the back and part the hair from the crown. Like before, we continue checking right across the hair in a horizontal manner. This we do throughout the entire back area, which will take us into our completed cut. Contrary to popular belief, Afro hair can be versatile once chemically processed, allowing the stylist much scope and versatility based on current trends. Here is our finished look.